Hello and welcome everybody to the Voices of Tech. This is Santiago with Marabou Partners again. Super pumped at the guest we have today. It's Sean Jackson with Pouncer AI. Sean, how are you doing today?
Fantastic, though you are in a cool location. I'm in Dallas and it's
Ah,
cold and raining, and you are in the sun. So I am jealous of where you
exactly.
are.
Hey man, we pay the sunshine tax over here in Mexico, that's for sure. That's for
That's right.
sure. Yeah, so Sean, can you tell us a little bit about what Pouncer AI is to someone who might not be familiar?
Absolutely. Pouncer AI is a fast and easy way for freelancers on Upwork to find and apply for jobs. What we find is that when you are freelancing and you are on platforms like Upwork, there's lots of opportunities out there, but there's also lots
Mm-hmm.
of competition. So
Mm-hmm.
where we leverage AI is to make it easy for you to find those opportunities and to apply to them quickly, knowing that there is time that we are saving you in this process. But the more important thing that I think is actually interesting is that we're not just taking a chat GPT and throwing it into some sort of response. We
Right.
actually spend a lot of time thinking through what clients are actually looking for in a proposal from a freelancer, and then using all of that data about you to really make it something that is personalized and tailored for exactly what the client is needing. So, for our perspective, every day I talk to freelancers all over the world who are finding and applying to jobs through our product.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And there's a few things I want to touch on, but first, how'd you come up with this idea to streamline
Absolutely.
Upwork?
Well, my partner and I were actually freelancers on Upwork.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so what was happening, like many freelancers out there, we were an agency, and he was the developer and I was the biz dev guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would see these opportunities come out there on Upwork. And inevitably, I was constantly asking my partner, Daniel, hey, Daniel, have you ever worked on something like this? Have you ever done something like this? Or what about this? And so over time, we just started building this, project list of things that we had done because we were new to Upwork. There was none of this information out
Yeah.
there in the system. And then, of course, when ChatGPT came about, we could write up cover letters. Well, I'm a good writer. I actually know how to
Mm-hmm.
write. But to write a tailored cover proposal takes time, and if you just send it all ChatGPT, it sounded terrible.
Yeah, you can recognize that.
You can recognize
Yeah.
in a heartbeat.
Anyone can.
So we started building an internal tool for us to help us get work, and it
Right.
was awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, we would joke that if we ever needed work, we would just use our internal tool, go apply to a whole bunch of different jobs, and automatically get the cover letters generated. So it'd take us maybe 20 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, I mean, we generated $400,000 from the tool. I mean, it was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we showed it to a couple of other freelancers we knew, gave them access to this terrible internal tool that was only designed for us. They started using it, they started seeing success. And because Daniel and I come from a product background, we're like,
Mm-hmm.
this could be a product.
Right. Yeah.
And then we just kind of took it from there, and through multiple iterations. And it's one thing to create up a tool for yourself or a tool for your friends. It's
Mm-hmm.
another thing to have a tool that is used by people all over the world with different skill sets, different backgrounds. It's actually a lot harder than people think.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is probably always the challenge of taking any concept to market, is realizing that your core users are one part of it, but then there's this extended universe, and they're going to have very different needs than the people
Mm-hmm.
you can put on as a call like this and say, let me show you how to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. So, just curious, is Pouncer AI, is it just for one niche or is it for freelancers across the board? Did I cut out
Hey,
a little bit there?
Santiago, you're breaking up on me.
Oh no, it's a Mexico connection. So is Pouncer AI, is it just for one niche in freelancing or is it for freelancers across the board in Upwork?
So it's primarily it's for freelancers who are in the competitive categories, primarily technical. So if you
Gotcha.
look at Upwork as a good representation of freelancers worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
the most lucrative jobs, the jobs that pay the highest, tend to be in the technical skills,
Yeah.
web development, WordPress development, mobile app development, or where we are looking for a high-end design work via CAD files, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So those
Nice.
freelancers are, if they get one job from a client, it's pretty substantial for them. If
Oh
you're
yeah.
just doing a graphic for an ad, you're not. I mean, yes, there's lots of competition out there, but it's just too expensive to invest in tools because the return is not as high as you would hope it would be. So
Yeah.
we tend to focus more on the technical people, and then the second audience that we have, there's a lot of agencies out there. This is, I think, going to blow
Absolutely.
you. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that set up shop, they subcontract work out to other environments, but they are there to grab that work. And
Mm-hmm.
those people are also big users because they're not just sending out, applications or finding jobs for themselves. They're looking to fill a team of people with work.
Exactly. No, that's crazy. Do you find a lot of agencies going into Upwork nowadays?
It's actually the ones, yes. The answer is yes. I would
Mm-hmm.
say that at the agency level, Upwork is probably one of three pillars that they use.
Yeah.
Obviously, LinkedIn is a big part of it. Traditional advertising online, i.e., Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and then Upwork forms that third leg. The difference with
Nice.
Upwork, though, is that Upwork has clients that are ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes. Now, there's a lot of
Intent
people that
based.
are tire kickers.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but if you compare the cost of Upwork to a Google ad, let's say you're a WordPress developer and you want to run ads on Google for anyone
Mm-hmm.
looking for a WordPress developer. Well, you're going to be paying a lot per click for everyone who's like just, kicking tires or, let me see what's
Yeah,
out there.
window
See what others
shopping.
do.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And I think you have less of that on platforms like Upwork. The challenge is you got a lot of competition and you got to
Yeah.
stand out. And it's a little bit harder. But, from our perspective, we found great success in mobile app development, which was our forte, simply
Nice.
because we knew how to present ourselves and we knew
Mm-hmm.
how to sell. So while I can't teach people how to sell, I can certainly teach people how to present themselves. And that's what we did with Pouncer.
Amazing, amazing. And you mentioned there being a lot of competitiveness on Upwork, and I've dabbled with my services on there before, and I can see how competitive of a market it is. So what would happen if someone went in there manually and tried to just leave Pouncer to the side and just apply for jobs on their own?
Lots of pain, lots of time, lots of
Mm-hmm.
frustration. This is the one thing that we find is that, you can be you can write great code. Okay. We know
Yeah.
many people who are really good at the coding. But they cannot convey themselves properly. They cannot position themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to write. I think that's probably one of the biggest frustrations. A lot of them will turn to ChatGPT thinking that ChatGPT will magically fix it. But as you pointed out earlier, it's easy to spot.
Oh yeah.
And on top of which, there is a structure to good writing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm a writer, because I know structure, I know frameworks, I know how to put things together. When I use ChatGPT, I actually spend more. The things that I give it is actually more than the output that I get back. I'll spend more time sometimes giving it information to get things back in a way. And even when it gives it back, I still have to edit it. We wanted to
Exactly.
make that process simpler. That was the key. You're good at what you do. We're good at helping you position yourself the right way in a way that clients want. And we do that because our AI system, which uses ChatGPT, but is highly tuned, highly
Mm-hmm.
trained. We have, literally the hundreds of thousands of proposals coming through our system. We know what's working, what's not working. That's something you're
Amazing.
not going to get from ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned that, in the original conversations that we had about Pouncer AI. And so structurally, why is it important that it's not built on a ChatGPT model?
Yeah. So one of the things that, when we look at ChatGPT in general, most
Mm-hmm.
people don't know how to use it correctly. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where I think the key has always been for us is how do we position the prompts that go before this information?
Mm-hmm.
How do we sit there and massage the data? How do we make sure we give it the right elements? This
Yeah.
is where software like ours, I think, really excels in what we call vertical SaaS, right? Where we can take a vertical industry, in this case freelancers, and really dig down deep. Because the
Hmm.
reality is that you're the there's not if you know what you're doing, it becomes easier, but most
Yeah.
people don't know what they're doing. And even when they do know what they're doing, things change. And
Hmm.
so for us, ChatGPT has been fantastic, but it's fantastic because of all the massaging that we have to do in there.
Exactly.
I'll give you an example. Before we send, when we send data to ChatGPT, I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly.
Yeah, right.
We have not just your data, not just the job information from Upwork, and not just the templates that we have, but we have a huge prompt that is included with this. Okay.
Hmm.
This is a very detailed, nuanced prompt. It took a long time to figure out exactly the instructions to yield exactly the results. It had nothing to do with the data, nothing to do with the job, nothing to do with the writing framework. It was all in how those three things are combined together.
Interesting.
And that is something that if you were to replicate what we did, good luck. Because I will tell you, I see the output. We literally have people rating our output, and we're fine tuning based on those ratings. And of course, we're seeing what jobs they're getting, right? Like, does
Absolutely.
this work versus that work? Okay, let's
Yeah.
do more of this that's working and getting jobs.
Exactly. Exactly. And data is everything, especially in these models. So it's nice that your system is just continuously learning and improving
Mhm.
based on the data. So we talked about output, we talked about results. You mentioned that you had made 400K in revenue using this tool. So
Mhm.
what could a freelancer expect when they use Pouncer AI in terms of the
Yeah.
output they get?
So I'll tell you what we do, I think, better than anything else is we
Yeah.
support our customers. Okay.
Amazing.
At the end of the day, being a freelancer is hard.
It's tough.
Very tough. It's
Hmm.
lonely. There's a lot of information out there, but it's sometimes conflicting. And even if you can find a good credible source, you still have to adapt it, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. And so one of the things that my partner and I decided very early on is we're big believers in what's called servant leadership, right? To serve others. So when
Yeah.
you come on board with Pouncer, yes, we have a tool, but we also have a community that we created up at
Wow.
community.pouncer.ai, where you can come and read information, free training courses on every aspect of
Amazing.
Upwork. We have weekly conversations, two of them actually. In fact, I just
Yeah.
got through with one of which where we help our customers, we review their profile for them.
Hmm.
I think this gets lost sometimes when we talk about technology is that especially for people like us that want a self-service model where you just, you sign up, you go try it
Plug and
out, you
play.
pay.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that our customers are never left alone if they need help. And the community has been, I think, a big part of our success in
Yeah.
drawing people to the brand. But when it comes to support tech, because to be fair, the technology doesn't break. I mean, it's a solid piece of technology we created. The
Hmm.
support tickets we get are, usually account based. Like, what do I
Yeah.
want to cancel my account or I want to upgrade my account, right?
Exactly.
But every time someone has a question, I'm struggling with this, I can't do that. The community resource is that value add that no AI is going to replace because it's not just us, it's everyone else just like you trying to help you succeed.
Absolutely. That's fascinating, Sean. How do you think to implement a community part into this tool?
You
Because I
know,
don't see that
my
with a lot of
partner,
SaaS founders or a lot of AI
yeah,
founders.
I'm going to give all credit to my partner, Daniel. So, Daniel, being a
Nice.
mobile app developer, he has joined lots of online communities or training courses, I should say.
Yeah.
And so, he, through his experience as a developer, would pay for these training courses and see these communities. And then sometimes they would be paired to a tool, not often. But he said,
Hmm.
a lot of time, I would just stay for the community. I would pay for the training, $100 or $200
Yeah.
training course online. But he would stay for the community. And he said, Sean, this makes products sticky. So we said, why don't we pair a community with a tool so that as long as you're using the tool or a part of our customer base, we're going to have this thriving community for you. And if you think about the ebb and flow of freelancing, it's definitely feast or famine. I'm doing
Absolutely.
great today, man. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kicking it. I don't need any work, man. I'm surfing in Mexico, dude.
Exactly.
And then
The
you're like,
highest of
oh,
highs.
holy cow, rent is due next month. I got to go get some
Exactly.
clients out there.
Low lows as well.
Yeah, so being available to them through that journey, whether they're doing great or doing poor, that I think has been the edge. And I think when it comes to AI tools, there is a real emphasis on not being engaged with the customer at the support level. And the
Yeah.
best quote I think that sums this up is Dharmesh Shah, the co-founder of HubSpot, the hugely
Nice.
successful
I
SaaS
love
company.
HubSpot.
He said a long time ago is that you're not selling software as a service, you're selling success as a service. And
Yes.
for us and to help our customers be successful, it's going to be more than just a tool. And
Absolutely.
that is, I think, really defined our approach to the company and the product is we sell success as a service, not software as a service.
I love that. I've never heard a SaaS founder bring that up, and that's a really I think that's a really powerful quote right there. And in regards to the community, I mean, I know there's some people who are going to be listening to this who might be corporate employees. They might have a team already that they go into the office with. Why do you think it's important for freelancers specifically to have a community?
Well, let's talk about the fact that if you look at freelancing worldwide, and let's
Hmm.
concentrate on the U.S., freelancing in the U.S. is usually side hustles, right?
Yeah.
I'm working a full-time job. I'm going to the office with my coworkers, but I want to pick up some extra money because I want to go on a vacation or I want whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, for people that are in the corporate environment or looking at that side hustle capability, having a community, I think will just keep you motivated, right?
Yeah.
To be there when you need them. The
Hmm.
other thing that I often find is there's a lot of interesting advice on the YouTube in particular.
Yep.
Um, and
A
and
rabbit
certainly
hole.
the worst advice is on Reddit. If you want to go to a
Yeah.
place that is horrible, evil, and terrible, go to the Upwork subreddit because you will find that humanity's dregs populate that place, which is
Hmm.
unfortunate because it's hard being a freelancer. You need supportive people.
Yeah. It's lonely
So the
too.
community is there because it's not just Sean opining about whatever, right? It's other
Hmm.
people that you can ask. You can form connections. I know of a great example where we had two members of our community that were very active, and they just started talking to each other independently through the membership thing, and they started doing work together just
Yeah.
because they found each other in that community.
Exactly.
That's the kind of leverage that you get by being in a place that wants to support you, that wants to
Hmm.
cheer for your success, because it's going to draw people who are not negative but are positive, who are going through the same struggles, and they will find common ground with you, and through that hopefully find additional opportunity.
I love that. That's awesome. And here's something that I like to think about a lot that I think I'm very interested to hear how your take on it. So, a lot of big enterprises are moving from W-2 companies or W-2 employees to 1099 contract employees, whether it's part-time or full-time. There's never been more small to medium businesses in America than there is right now. So I'm curious, Sean, what does the future of freelance and contract work look like going forward?
Yeah, I think there's so Upwork just released their Future of Work survey a couple of days ago. It's
Oh,
absolutely
wow.
worth looking at. There is no doubt that the trend is moving towards independent work, especially people of your age, right? Who
Hmm.
do not want that traditional 9 to 5-ish type of corporate work. They want the
Yeah.
independence and freedom that you are actually enjoying right now. To
Hmm.
enable that, they're going to have to pursue freelancing or some elements of that, okay?
Yeah.
Corporations, however, really actually have a problem with their employees doing side hustle jobs, okay?
Yeah.
And so there is this kind of push and pull back and forth between the corporations who are hiring 1099 people, okay, but they don't want their people to be 1099, okay?
Nope. Hmm.
And so there is that dichotomy that goes on. Now, for small businesses, though, this is where I think the leverage factor really comes in, because what the survey also pointed out is some of the most adept users of AI, which has certainly permeated a lot of our ecosystem, are freelancers. They're
Nice.
using it aggressively. They're using it without the constrictions of a corporation or a policy and procedure manual that precludes them from that.
Yeah.
Small businesses now can leverage that talent and literally amplify the output from that individual very quickly. Now, as a freelancer, it does require a mindset change because before we had this hourly rate concept, right?
Yes.
But what I instruct our people in our community always is clients don't pay for the hours, they pay for the result.
ROI.
Exactly. And if you can provide a result that is lower in cost than the benefit that they receive, then they don't care how many hours you do it, they spend on it, and they don't care if you use AI to do it.
Exactly.
They care about the result. So I think the mind shift of corporate employees, of really everyone, is to get away from this, I charge X per hour, to what is your problem? What is the benefit you hope to achieve? Can I deliver that benefit to you at a cost lower than the benefit creates? And if that's the
Absolutely.
case, clients just, and especially small businesses, because small businesses don't have time to they don't want
No, they don't want to
hourly.
bill you per hour.
They're just
Yeah.
like, dude, here's what I need, get it to me, and get it at a cost that seems reasonable. And if it takes you 1 hour or 50 hours, I don't care. Give me what I'm
Exactly.
looking to buy.
Exactly. And I want to take a perspective from it from a business owner. As a small business owner myself, what are the advantages of going with a freelance employee as opposed to just scaling with W-2 employees?
Yeah, I think obviously you have legal obligations with W-2 employees. You have to pay their,
Yes.
Taxes, so
Health
you're going to always
insurance,
pay them
yeah.
more. The other thing is that W-2 employees actually don't work as much as a freelancer. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. If you're working in a company, you're going to have meetings. You're going to have other things that are not enhancing your productivity, right?
Yes.
You're meeting with this, you're filling out this report, you're doing these things that don't substantially increase the top line or decrease the bottom line, right?
Yes.
The revenue or decrease expenses. Now, with a freelancer, you can bring them in on a defined basis to get that output, and it could be one and done, or it could be a relationship that evolves over time. Now, you'll probably pay more for the freelancer for that production of work on an hourly or just in general,
Yeah.
but it's a defined deliverable because when you hire a
Exactly.
W-2 employee, and this is how I personally feel about it, I, as the business owner, I am responsible not only for getting them paid, getting them trained, helping them succeed, their life events, being there to help them, get better at their job. I take on a huge amount of responsibility in helping grow that W-2 employee. With a
Absolutely.
freelancer, I'll pay more, but I don't have to help them flourish as much. That's not my
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
My job is to tell them what I need. Their job is to deliver what I need and do it in such a way that meets the standards that I have. It's a defined transactional relationship, and in some ways, it's a lot easier because if I don't deliver, then you don't pay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why I was really excited to have you on the show, Sean, because I think your business with Pouncer AI really fits two of the biggest trends we're seeing right now. One, the contract work boom, and then also the AI boom. And they're two trends that I think the workforce is really going to shift into. So I have two questions for you. Two last questions for you. So one, what are your clients saying from before they use Pouncer AI to after? What are some of the reviews you've had from people
So
using it?
I will say this: the first one, which we know, is time saving, right?
Yes.
It's just faster. What normally would take 20 minutes to write and analyze and do all these things, even with AI, because you're copying and pasting back and forth, they're doing
Yeah.
it in 20 seconds. I mean,
Yeah.
our typical customer is saving, it takes on average about 6 hours a week is what they used to spend. Now they're putting 60 minutes. I mean, it's just because you just come in and you're applying fast. The other thing
Yeah.
though is they have seen an increase in response rates to the information they're putting out there. Now, this is
Amazing.
where it's tricky for us. We cannot say, well, if you use our tool, you're going to get the job. Okay. But we can
Guarantees
say
are tough.
that's right, because there's a lot of other factors out there. But what we can say is that if you use our tool, you're going to have a higher probability of getting it viewed, which is the first step. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. It's a numbers game.
That's right. It is a numbers game. I will say that probably the only frustration I really have with our customer base, I mean, really frustrating, is we offer a free 14-day trial. Okay.
Hmm.
And at the end of the 14-day trial, if you don't cancel, you automatically subscribe. But if you cancel, we're not charging you anything.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the number of people that will bounce into our tool, send out a bunch of proposals, get a job, and then cancel immediately. And I'm like, well,
Come on, you
wait
just
a
got
minute.
the ball rolling.
Yeah, I'm sitting
Yeah.
there going, dude, there are other jobs to be had out there.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's the only complaint that I have, because when you see your product financially transform people's lives, some of them will be like one lady by the name of Essie, mom, single mom, 2 kids, trying to sit there and get just enough extra income to pay the bills,
Yes.
skyrocketed with our tool, one of our top users. You see her
Amazing.
and how much she loved, and like how transformational we have made, a difference in her life. And then you see the
Yeah.
others that just come in and like, yeah, thank you for that job. I mean, we saw one person just the other day, $900 job. They spent zero money with us and got
That's
a $900
amazing.
job. And I'm like, but the joke's on them, because if they come back, they don't get the free trial anymore. They're gonna have to.
Exactly. And they're going to come back. You
Yeah.
let them roam and they always come home.
I love that one. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, you can feel free to steal that one. And then, lastly, I'm super impressed with Pouncer AI. Especially being in the lead generation space. I know there's a good demand on Upwork that I have yet to tap into. So, what's the future of Pouncer AI? What do you have planned for the next 12 months?
Well, the very near term is one of the other aspects of success on Upwork is your Upwork profile. Okay.
Hmm.
I would say that by far the biggest request of my time and the most consumed content we produce in the community is around how to improve your profile.
Yeah.
In the next week or so, we are releasing our new AI tool that will totally transform your Upwork profile, that will make it
Wow.
so much better, with better images, better titles, better overview, better report. I mean, it's almost like it takes what you've created and just and jacks it to the 10th degree, with a focus on keyword optimization so that the Upwork search algorithm can find you better, but
Wow.
also making it really something that a client will find value from. That's coming out in the very short term. The next
Wow.
thing, of course, is that Upwork is just one platform. LinkedIn is the 10 times larger in everything.
It's
So
a
we
great
see
B2B tool.
really moving the ideas of profiles in Upwork and proposals in Upwork to profiles in LinkedIn and proposals in LinkedIn. So as we continue to refine our approach, we'll be able to go after that much bigger behemoth, which is the users on LinkedIn who are using, the platform aggressively to find leads, right? Who are
Yeah.
responding to requests, who wonder,
Exactly.
hey, does my LinkedIn profile really show me the best way, or is it something people look at and go, you know?
Because we all know those are out there.
Yeah.
No, that's tremendous, Sean. That's tremendous. And I have one last question for you. Just because I know I would have found this of very much value when I was sitting back in corporate America. So if you had any advice for anyone looking to start freelancing, say they have a skill that they want to monetize, but they don't know where to start, they don't know where to go, what would you recommend? What advice would you have for that person?
Well, I actually have a free course at Community.Pouncer AI called 21 Days to
Amazing.
Upwork Success, where I literally walk you through. Now, I call it 21 days. You're not going to spend 21 days. It'll be a lot faster.
Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge, when you want to become a freelancer, you really have to kind of understand yourself better. It's scary. I was scared. Okay. I'm
I'm
old
scared.
and I was scared, right? You have to really kind of understand, what is it that I'm really good at? What are the
Exactly.
type of clients I really want to work with? How can I be different from everyone else? Because that's the thing that will blow everyone away. I don't care how unique and special you think you are, I will find 50,000 others that are just as unique and special. My favorite
Hmm.
quote is, if you think you're one in a million, that means there's 7,000 people in the world just like you. Because there's simply, I mean, so
Yeah.
I think that you really have to kind of think about what you can do, what you do well, what kind of clients you want to work with, and then, of course, how you're different from everyone else. And everyone is different. Once you understand that, then you can start positioning yourself. The other thing that I think too often happens. We don't show up like a pro. In other words, we don't take the time to understand ourselves, and when we do show up, this is a job interview, and when you're starting out as a freelancer, every detail matters. I've seen people out there with terrible profiles on Upwork, but they're making $1 million. They already have social proof galore. They've got 20,000 5-star ratings. Like they just crushed it. So you get to have to compete with them. And how do you compete with that guy or gal? You show up like a pro. You show up differently. You make sure that your best foot is forward in your portfolio. And everyone should have a portfolio. Everyone. Doesn't matter what it is. How you describe what you can do for the client. Not about you. It's about them.
Yeah.
Your profile photo. Does your profile photo look as taking a spring break and 3 years ago with a in your hand? Or do you show up like a professional? You have to make a great first impression because no one believes you in the beginning. Then, over time, because you know the kind of work you do, the type of clients you want to go after, you present yourself as a pro, then you start to find that you will have clients who gravitate to people with your skill sets. But if you're like hey, I just want the gig economy and I want a couple of bucks here, and hey, I social media marketing and I'm cool and
I'll forget about it. Yeah. That is beautiful advice, Sean. Well, I want to say thank you so much for being a guest on this show. I'm super excited to see the way this lays out in the next few months. And if you see Santi at Marabou Partners pop up in there, this was a great interview. So thank you so much, Sean.
Absolutely, Santiago.